I'm 62 years old. I love my 4 kids and 6 grandkids more than anything, but I no longer let them visit without calling first. It sounds harsh, I know. It felt harsh to me too when I first said it. Let me tell you what happened. For years, I believed that an open-door policy for my family was the ultimate sign of love. It was my measure of a successful home. But here's my confession. That belief was a mistake. It cost me my peace. It cost me my sense of control in my own house. And it nearly cost me my marriage because I took my wife, Sherry, for granted. I let her become the perpetual hostess, and I didn't see the exhaustion until it was almost too late. The lesson I learned, the hard way, is that love isn't measured by unlimited access. True respect is shown through consideration. A simple phone call is a small gesture that protects everyone's dignity and sanity. It started when I retired. You see, I was a librarian in Renton for 40 years. Sherry and I had just settled into our empty nest rhythm here in South Park, and I was proud. I'd see other retirees looking a little lonely, and I'd think, not me, my door is always open. That constant welcome chaos, I thought that was the prize. And at first it was. The drop-in visits felt like a blessing, a validation. Then came the first crack. I remember it was a Tuesday afternoon. I was finally doing my yoga, savoring the quiet after decades of a public job. The doorbell rang and then the door just opened. It was my son, Mark, with his 2 toddlers. "Dad," he said, all out of breath. "We were at the park and the little one had a blowout. Can we use your shower?" In that moment, my peace was just gone. And I watched as Sherry, without a word, got up from her book and went to start a load of laundry. That became the pattern. Our home wasn't just a home. It was an emergency stop, a free cafe. I'm a meticulous planner, comes from 40 years of cataloging, but my family's plans always overrode mine. Sherry, ever the sociable hostess, just kept smiling and adapting. But the real wake-up call came on a Sunday I dedicated to my volunteer work. I'd organized a big brunch for the community garden committee at our house. I had card tables set up just so, a meticulous spread. I was in my element. Then, mid-setup, my daughter Laura's family of 4 showed up, starving after soccer. They saw the food, assumed it was for them, and just dug in. Plates were filled, fingers were licked. The volunteers arrived to a half-eaten spread and my completely flustered face. Laura just laughed and said, "Oops, should have called." She meant it as a joke, but that phrase stuck in my head. Should have called. I started to notice Sherry more after that. The little hostess trick she'd always done joyfully now seemed like a frantic routine. She was always guest-ready, her own reading and quiet time perpetually on hold. The cost of my open-door policy was being paid from her account, and I'd been too proud to see the withdrawals. I felt guilty. I told myself I'd fix it, that I'd carve out time for us. And I did. I planned a perfect, quiet night for just the 2 of us. It was a Friday. Sherry looked exhausted. I declared a lockdown. We'd order in, play cards, stay in our pajamas. We were deep into a cribbage game, laughing like we used to, when headlights swept the driveway. My heart just sank. It was my youngest, his wife, and their new baby, just in the neighborhood. I saw Sherry's face fall. You know what she did? She pasted on a smile. She spent the next 2 hours fetching drinks and cooing over the baby, still in her pajamas. I was dismayed. I felt helpless. After they left, the house was quiet. Sherry didn't say a word. She just washed the glasses, wiped the counter, and went upstairs. I found her sitting on the edge of our bed. She was crying, not sobbing, just silent tears rolling down her face. That silent crying was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. It was heartbreaking. In that moment, I saw it all clearly. My open-door policy, my pride in being the family hub, had become her prison sentence, and I had been the warden. I knew, right then, I had to be the one to change the rules. The next week, I called a family meeting. My hands were shaking when I dialed the first number. I told them all, Mark, Laura, everyone, that we needed to talk, all together. They came over that Sunday afternoon and you could feel the confusion in the room. They thought something was wrong. In a way it was, but not the way they feared. I sat them down in the living room, the same room where we'd had birthday parties and Christmas mornings. Sherry sat beside me, her hand in mine. I told them how much we loved them, how proud we were of the families they'd built. I told them that seeing our 6 grandkids was the greatest joy of our lives. And then I took a breath, and I said it. But we need you to call before you come over from now on. The silence was thick. Mark, my practical son, looked baffled. But it's just us, Dad. You always said your door was open. Laura, my social butterfly, looked hurt. Are you saying we're not welcome? That's when Sherry spoke up. Her voice was quiet, but it filled the room. You are always welcome. That's not what this is about. She looked at each of them. When you show up without calling, I am often not ready to be grandma or mom. I'm just me. I'm in the middle of a thought or a book, or I'm tired, and I have to scramble to become the hostess you expect. It's starting to feel like a performance, not a visit. I jumped in. And for me, I said, it's about respect for our time. Remember the garden brunch, Laura? She flushed, remembering. I dedicated that day to my volunteer work. It mattered to me. When you ate the food, it wasn't about the food. It was about my planning, my commitment to those people. A simple call would have saved everyone that embarrassment. I saw my youngest son, Ben, the one with the new baby who'd interrupted our pajama night, look down at his hands. He got it. He's a new father. His own time isn't his own anymore either. A phone call isn't a barrier, I explained, trying to sound as calm as I'd practiced in my head. It's a bridge. It says, I respect that you have a life, and I want to be part of it when you're ready for me. It gives us time to shift gears, to be truly happy to see you, instead of just surprised. There was some defensiveness, of course, a little, we just love you and want to see you, and we thought you liked the spontaneity. But then my eldest daughter, Sarah, the one who's always been a bit more perceptive, nodded slowly. You're right, she said. I'd hate it if my kids just showed up at my house unannounced when they're older. I'd feel like I could never just be a mess. That broke the tension. We talked for another hour. We weren't setting office hours, we told them. We weren't building a moat. We were just asking for a tiny bit of coordination, the same courtesy they'd give a friend. The first few weeks were awkward. The habit was so ingrained. My phone would ring and it would be Mark, already in the car. Hey Dad, we're about 10 minutes away, is that okay? And I had to learn to say sometimes, you know, not today, buddy. Your mom has a headache and I'm in the middle of something. How about tomorrow? The first time I said no, I felt a physical ache. I hung up and looked at Sherry. I just told Mark no, I said, feeling like I'd broken some sacred vow. But Sherry just smiled. A real smile, not the hostess one. Good, she said, and that was that. Then something started to change. The calls began to come before they got in the car. Hi Dad, thinking of you. Would tomorrow afternoon be good for a visit? The kids want to show you their report cards. Or from Laura, Mom, I've had a rough week. Any chance I could come over for a cup of tea and just talk, just us? And we could say yes. We could say, absolutely, come at 3. I'll have the kettle on. Or, how about 4? I need to run an errand first. We had agency. We had a say in our own lives again. The visits themselves began to feel different. Because we knew they were coming, we could prepare. Not just tidying up, though yes, that too, but preparing our hearts. I'd take out the special deck of cards I use with the grandkids. Sherry would bake her famous peanut butter cookies, the ones that take time. We'd finish whatever we were doing, so when the doorbell rang, we could open the door with our full attention, our full joy, already waiting for them. We weren't being interrupted anymore. we were being joined. The peace that settled into our house wasn't an empty quiet. It was a fertile quiet. Sherry started reading whole novels again, getting lost in worlds without the anxiety of an imminent doorbell. I could do my full yoga routine or spend an entire afternoon organizing my volunteer schedules for the community garden without that background hum of what if. I realized my innovation wasn't in creating a welcoming home all those years. I'd done that. My real innovation was in finally figuring out how to protect it. Being sociable, I learned, doesn't mean being on call. It means being present. And you can't be fully present for someone when they've just pulled the rug out from under your day. And you can't be fully present for someone when they've just pulled the rug out from under your day. That's what I finally understood, sitting there in the quiet after our family meeting. The rule was in place, but the real work, the hardest part, was just beginning. It was the work of forgiving myself. You see, for weeks after we drew that line, I'd have these moments. I'd be in the middle of my yoga, in that beautiful, guaranteed quiet, and my mind would wander back to Sherry's face, that pajama night. That look of pure disappointment, quickly masked. I'd see her silently crying on the bed, and I would just stop. I'd sit on my mat and feel this awful, heavy guilt. I was the librarian, the meticulous one, the one who was supposed to catalog and organize and see the whole system. How had I missed this? How had I let the person I love most become a supporting character in the story of my welcoming home? I tried to talk to her about it one evening. We were playing cards again, just the two of us. A planned, peaceful night. I was shuffling the deck the way I do, and I just blurted it out. "I'm so sorry, Sherry, for all of it." She looked up from her hand. "For what, Don? We fixed it." "For not seeing it sooner," I said. My voice sounded strange to me. "For letting you carry it all. I was so proud of being the guy with the open door, I never stopped to ask if you were the one holding it open." She put her cards down. She reached across the table and took my hand. "I let it happen too," she said softly. "I never said no. I thought that's what a good wife and grandmother did. I thought my job was to be ready, always." "But it wasn't your job," I said, and I felt a lump in my throat. "It was our home. I should have been paying attention. I was so busy enjoying the noise, I didn't hear you getting quiet." That was the heart of it, her quiet. Over the years, her vibrant, sociable energy had slowly been replaced by a kind of efficient, watchful quiet. She was always listening for the car, the door, the footsteps. Her own voice, her own desires for her day had gotten quieter and quieter until that night they disappeared into silent tears. The memory that really broke me, the one I have to force myself to remember, happened about a month before the pajama night. It was a Wednesday. I'd been out volunteering at the garden all morning. I came home energized, talking a mile a minute about the new compost system. Sherry was in the kitchen, putting away groceries. She listened, she smiled, she asked the right questions. Then, as I was heading to my study to look up something, I tossed over my shoulder, "Oh, Laura mentioned she might swing by later with the kids." Sherry stopped, just froze for a second, a can of soup in her hand. Then she said, so quietly I almost didn't hear her, "I was going to take a bath." I turned around. "What?" She didn't look at me. She just kept putting the soup away. "Nothing, it's fine." And I, like a fool, said, "Okay," and walked out of the room. I walked out of the room. Her one small plan for herself, a bath, a moment of quiet, and I canceled it with a casual announcement, and then I just left. I didn't think. I didn't offer to call Laura and tell her to come another time. I didn't say, "You go take your bath, I'll handle the visit." I just erased her plan and moved on with my day. Remembering that moment now, It devastates me. It wasn't a dramatic betrayal. It was a small, casual neglect. 1,000 small, casual neglects. That's what the open door policy was built on. My pride was the foundation, and her silent, unacknowledged labor was the mortar holding it all together. I told her about that memory too, sitting at our card table. "The soup," I said. "You were going to take a bath." She looked surprised that I remembered. Then her eyes filled with tears, not the silent ones, but real ones. "I was so tired that day," she whispered. "I know," I said, and I started to cry too. Not a dignified old man's tear, but proper crying, because I finally saw the cost. It wasn't just stolen time, it was the message it sent. The message that her time, her rest, her simple pleasure of a Wednesday afternoon bath was less important than the possibility of a surprise visit, that her peace was negotiable, that in the economy of our family, she was the liquid asset, always available to be spent. I had done that. With my pride, my "look what a great patriarch I am" attitude, I had made the woman I love feel like a convenience, a service. That realization is the heaviest thing I have ever carried. We sat there at that table, holding hands and crying for a while. It was messy and quiet and sad. But listen, here's the thing. It was also the beginning, because we were finally looking at the same truth together. We weren't hiding from it in a flurry of unexpected guests and hostess duties. We were just two people in our quiet, planned evening, seeing the damage clearly. And when the tears slowed, Sherry squeezed my hand and said, "We fixed it, Don. We're fixing it right now." She was right. The new rule, the phone calls, they weren't just about managing visits. They were an apology, a daily, lived apology. Every time one of the kids called first, it was a tiny repair to that foundation. It was a message, to her and to me, that our time together, our peace, our shared life in this house was valuable. It was worth protecting. I didn't feel better right away. Forgiveness, especially from yourself, doesn't work like that. But I felt clear. For the first time in years, I saw our life together with absolute, painful clarity. I saw what we'd lost. And in that same clear light, I began to see what we could build in its place. Something sturdier. Something with a door that had a lock. Not because we wanted to keep anyone out, but because we finally understood that what was inside was too precious to leave unprotected. Something sturdier. Something with a door that had a lock. Not because we wanted to keep anyone out, but because we finally understood that what was inside was too precious to leave unprotected. Here's what I understand now, sitting in this new peace. A home is a sanctuary, not a public utility. For years, I thought my innovation was in creating this welcoming, bustling hub. I was wrong. My real innovation was in finally figuring out how to protect it. Being sociable doesn't mean being on call. It means being present. And you can't be fully present when you're startled, or when you're scrambling, or when you're watching the person you love most put on a performance just to get through a visit. That phone call is everything. It's not a barrier, it's a bridge. It's a tiny, simple gesture that says, "I respect that you have a life, and I want to be part of it when you're ready for me." It gives me time to put the good cookies out. It gives Sherry time to finish her chapter. It gives us time to transition from our world to theirs with genuine joy, not with that panicked, half-smiling shock. It turns an interruption into an invitation. It changed everything. I think about those key moments now, not with resentment, but as the necessary lessons that saved us. Mark's diaper emergency taught me that my peace matters too. Laura's brunch debacle taught me that my commitments outside this family deserve respect. And those headlights on our pajama night and Sherry's silent tears, they taught me that love isn't measured by unlimited access. True respect is shown through consideration. I was taking her consideration for granted, and I was letting the kids do the same. A boundary, drawn from love, fixed that. So if you're listening to this and you're feeling like a hotel with a revolving door, if you're exhausted from being perpetually guest ready, I'm talking to you. It's okay to install a lock on that door. It's not too late to change the dynamic. You can start today. My advice is this: start the conversation from love, not from frustration. Don't lead with your anger about the last surprise visit. Lead with your heart. Say, I love you so much, and I want to be my best when I'm with you. To do that, I need a little heads up. Explain that it's about being prepared to welcome them fully, not about keeping them out. It's about honoring your own life so you have more to give to theirs. It was a hard conversation, I won't lie. There was surprise, a little defensiveness. But when we explained it wasn't about rejecting them, but about honoring our marriage and our home, they understood. They're good people. They just needed us to show them how. You still have time. You can reclaim your sanctuary. The peace we have now isn't an empty quiet. It's a fertile quiet. Sherry reads whole novels. I plan my volunteer schedules without that background hum of anxiety. And when the phone rings and it's one of them asking, "Hey Dad, is it a good time for a visit?" The answer is almost always yes, and I truly, deeply mean it. The visits are richer now. We're all more present. The love was always there, but now it's wrapped in mutual respect, and that makes all the difference. This channel is full of stories like mine, people my age sharing what we've learned the hard way, so maybe you don't have to. If this story about my family, about Sherry, about finding peace in a house that was once too full of surprise, meant something to you, I'd be honored if you'd subscribe and turn on notifications. There are more stories here, wisdom earned through living, that might help you navigate your own path. And leave me a comment down below. Tell me, does this resonate with you? Are you the one always holding the door open? Or are you, like I was, just enjoying the noise without seeing the cost? Maybe you found your own way to set a healthy boundary. I'd love to hear about it. If you found a bit of truth here, hit that like button. It lets me know this mattered. And please, share this with someone who might need to hear it. A friend, a sibling, maybe even one of your own kids. Sometimes the message needs to come from a third party. If you've got a story of your own, a lesson learned later in life that could help someone else, there's a form down in the description. Fill it out. Your experience matters. Your hard-earned wisdom deserves a voice. Maybe next time, we'll be sharing your story. And if you're looking for more on this, on building a life of meaning and boundaries in these later years, I'd recommend a book that helped me frame my own thoughts. The Gift of Years by Joan Chittister. It's not about family specifically, but about embracing this chapter of life with intention. I'll put a link in the description. Don't wait until you see the silent tears. Don't wait until your own peace is a distant memory. Your home is your sanctuary. Your time is your treasure. Protect them both, so you can fill them with the genuine, prepared joy that you and your family deserve. It starts with a single, simple sentence. Please just give me a call first. It's a small change that can restore a world of peace.